The long-standing Manhattan Island Marathon Swim world record of 5 hours, 45 minutes, and 25 seconds was set by Shelley Taylor Smith in 1995, when this record was recently challenged by Petar Stoychev and Mark Warkentin. Steve Muñatones was on location.
How do you feel, Peter?
We're gonna figure that out.
Very good. Good?
Yeah,
You excited about swimming at night?
first time for me. I'm gonna try, but it's different. You don't know where you go.
Yeah.
You see nothing almost.
Yeah. Have you ever used a night stick? You know, the glow stick?
No, not during the swim. only when we got party.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about the temperature? Temperature and the weather?
Yeah. It's not warm.
Yeah. Do you see the waves out there?
Big waves, clouds, wind. Not nice. Not nice for swimming, but what we can do.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Mark is still stroking very quickly. He's at about 82 strokes per minute. He's got about a 4-beat kick. He's looking good. There was really only one point in the race where he seemed to tire a bit, but he's coming on quite strong, and it was just the elements weren't in his favor today. But he's still swimming very strong. He's proven himself to be able to swim well at night, and his kayakers have kept him safe throughout the evening. As we look back, Peter is actually taking a different course. Peter looks like he's more in the middle of the river, and Peter's coming on strong. But we have approximately 3/4 of a mile to go, and that would put Mark at a little over 6 hours. Still a very fast time for 28.5 miles, but the world record was not beaten. When he caught me, he went for the feed, and he went a little bit to the right, and for some reason I got pulled a little bit to the left, and immediately that was the time when apparently I made a move. And I felt like within a couple seconds I got a huge amount of separation, and that amount of separation gave me a second win. Just being away from him, not necessarily being in front of him, but just being away from him. It was like I was reinvigorated or something like that. And it probably had the reverse effect on him. Like he had put all this energy into catching me, and then all of a sudden he looks up and I'm 25 yards away within a matter of seconds. So that was the turning point in the match race. And my first move didn't work, and just in a matter of a split second, my second move worked. And I didn't know that it worked, which was kind of frustrating. It kept me on edge, back under the BMW bridges, because my kayakers didn't tell me where he was. So I didn't know that move had actually worked. So there were some points of the race when you flipped over on your back, and I know you were looking at Mark, and you were trying to figure out where he was. Or yeah, I was totally obsessed, 100%, with beating Stoychev, and I felt like they were telling me, well, you're at the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm like, who cares about the Brooklyn Bridge? Tell me where Stoychev is. And so I started kind of taking it upon myself, like, all right, if these guys are going to point out landmarks that I don't really care about, I'm going to have to figure out where Stoychev is on my own. Separation, whether it's 25 yards ahead or 25 yards to the right or the left, because I was slightly ahead, he didn't know, and he didn't know where I was. His belief was that since he couldn't see me, I was so far ahead. When in reality, I probably wasn't that far ahead. I was just further off to the side. But psychologically, he didn't know that. You break somebody's spirit. Can you do that? Like, Stoychev is a tough person to break his spirit because he's by far the best at these long-distance races. So to break his spirit, you've got to be pretty hardcore about what it is you're doing. Some people you can break their spirit really, really quickly. But I made The first move when I tried to break his spirit, it didn't work. The second move, it did. But I didn't know that. Any one person in a good pack can break the spirit of another person. The pack itself can break the spirit of one guy. If the pack's just moving too fast, or one guy gets beat up around a turn. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it happens all the time. Somebody gets hit in the face, and their confidence gets shaken, or the pace is just too fast and they can't keep up. And as soon as you make that realization that something bad has happened to you, you're in big, big, big trouble. But I don't think one person can't necessarily do that to another person in a good 10K race. The pack can, but one person can't.
Did he ever have the lead on you tonight?
Did he?
Yeah, did he ever have the lead?
No.
Did he ever come close to
closest, he almost did.
Yeah.
He almost did. Yeah, I was on the verge at 2.5 hours. I was teetering on the edge of being like, just reciting my speech of how great of an athlete Petar Stoychev is and how he'd be so tough to beat. And how second place to Petar Stoychev is not that bad. I had it all worded out. It's a totally different entity. I mean, I've got confidence that I'm on my way back to the form that I was at in 2007, 2008, when I was very, very good. And I think having confidence in myself and the fact that everybody else knows that what I'm capable of, that puts me back on the map. But I don't think any of those guys are necessarily scared. I don't know. It was kind of based upon if I could find like a relaxed moment where the water wasn't so choppy that I could get into a good rhythm. And there were a bunch of times where I felt the rhythm, but then as soon as a head chop would come up, it would kind of have like a little mini breaking of my spirit, and then I'd kind of tone it down a little bit. So it was almost like I took natural energy breaks. I'd go maybe 2 minutes at 80%, and then a little wave would hit me in the head, and I'd drop it down for a couple minutes, and it's kind of a roller coaster for a lot of the race. And there's a lot of times where I'd get a feed, and maybe about 2 or 3 minutes later, it was like a second wind. And so then I'd lengthen out my stroke, I'd throw in more of a kick, and I'd kind of hold that for as long as I could, knowing that Stoychev had no clue that I was making a move right then. And that was the best reason why it was good for me to be ahead, was that he never knew when I was making a move. So that's the advantage you have when you're ahead. And I saw the skyline of New York City, and it looked like a Batman comic strip. It was beautiful the way that it was lit up, and it was really cool. And at the time I thought, well, as soon as I hit this, within just a matter of minutes, I'm going to be flying down this backside. So I kind of felt like it was the last moment of choppiness before the race turned into a downriver race. But I remember looking up at the skyline and thinking, this is a very unique perspective. Not that many people get to see New York City from in the water at night. And it was very dark out there. And it was a really beautiful moment that I remember looking up at it and just being, wow, that's really cool. It was so emotionally demoralizing. They said a half a mile left. I'm thinking 8 to 10 minutes. That was maybe a half an hour left. They said a quarter of a mile left. I'm thinking 4 to 5 minutes. And that was 15 minutes to go. So I yelled at him a couple times like how much further. I sounded like such a hopeless loser. But I felt really like I know how far a quarter of a mile is. And I know how long that's supposed to take. And they said quarter of a mile. And I'm thinking, all right, 4 to 5 minutes. 10 minutes later, I was like, were you guys just messing with me? Like telling me it was a quarter mile when really it wasn't because you wanted me to think that the finish line was closer? So that was the last 15 minutes were excruciatingly difficult. Yeah.
They gave you right information. You're just going against not against first.
How was swimming in Speedos? Brief. When was the last time you actually swam in brief?
Oh goodness, yeah, it's been a while. You know, I didn't mind it that much. The last time I swam a race, I did the legs from my waist to my ankles, and you know, that would have been nicer, obviously, but I train in this every day, so you know, as long as Stoychev was wearing the same suit that I wasn't too concerned about that aspect of it. I don't get emotional about swimsuits.
Thank you for watching. We trust you enjoyed this exclusive video provided by Open Water Source. For more information about Open Water Source, please visit openwatersource.com. And while you're there, pick up your own free copy of the Open Water Almanac. We provide this as a free gift to the open water community. Once again, visit openwatersource.com and download your free copy of the Open Water Almanac. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.